This is the Palin Update on SarahNet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
We will fight for freedom. We will fight for America. We are at the tipping point. United we must stand, and we shall nobly save, not meanly lose, this last best hope on earth.
One thing that can be said about Palin supporters is they are a loyal bunch. They stick by the governor through thick and thin, and never has that been more evident than recently. Even though Governor Palin announced she does not intend to run for the White House this year, groups supporting her and spreading the Palin message continue to spring up and thrive. One of them that's really catching fire is Youth for Palin. Today, one of the true patriots that runs the group is here. Later, we'll look back at the week, including a Palin endorsement for president. Okay, not Sarah, but Todd, the first dude, unveils his choice. First, a look at a group that continues to support and promote the Wasilla Warrior. And we are pleased to have with us one of the hard-working women who makes the group go. Nicki Scroggin joining us today on the Palin Update on SarahNet Radio. Nicki, thanks so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, let me ask you this first. Youth for Palin, you know, people are really noticing your site, and it's interesting because you hear the title Youth for Palin, but you have everybody in there. Some folks who aren't of voting age yet, others who are just voting for the first time, and then others like yourself and me who've been voting for a while. So tell me a little bit about the group overall and about how you have all these different members, even though the name of it is Youth for Palin.
Oh, that's true. We do. We have folks of all ages in there. We like to say youth of all ages. And our business model is to bring together under one roof the older and the younger generations for the sole purpose of educating the next generation on the conservative issues.
Now, I know that this group went up kind of around the time when we were all hoping that Governor Palin would get into the race for president. When she announced that she would not run, you guys kept going strong, just as we did here with the radio program and some others. So, like you just kind of summed up there, I guess, it wasn't just a Palin bid for the White House. It's also just getting those values out there.
That's correct. You know, even though Sarah chose not to run, her purpose is still there. You know, her mission is bigger than just one person. And with our group, we like to continue on with that. You know, she's a role model for us, and Youth for Palin is like our gift to her. You know, we want her to be proud of this group. We want her ideas and her values to be displayed in Youth for Palin.
You know, what I've noticed about the group, and you in particular, you're very open to people. You talk to people politely. You respect people's opinions even when they differ, especially, you know, most people are on board the same with Governor Palin, but during this primary process, there's been a lot of folks for or against certain candidates on the GOP side, and you look at some of these other sites, and you don't really get that niceness, if you will, back sometime when people have a difference of opinion. Is that something you try to get out there, too, in that group? And I think that that's something you see from Governor Palin.
Yes, exactly. Because Governor Palin, every time, if you've watched all of her interviews, she's always had nice things to say about the GOP, and to each one of them, you know. And before the primary really got to going, I didn't really pay attention to the candidates themselves because I had my eye on one, and that was her. And so when she chose not to get into that race, I was forced to look at the others. So I didn't really know a whole lot about them either. And but I didn't want to tear them down either, even if I did choose one, because that may have not been the one that won. And I'm, like she said, we don't want to do Obama's homework for him. We want to make him do it himself, and we want to build up each of the candidates because you don't know which one you're going to get at the end.
The other thing that I think has set Youth for Palin to stand you out more from the other sites too is that You know, you've really understood that Governor Palin wasn't going to run when she said she wasn't going to run, although we still, always hope for her to pull something wild here. But you did look at the other candidates. You did realize that the bigger ball game here was getting rid of this current president and trying to get the best conservative in it possible. What do you make of all these other sites that, they're pro-Palin, they say, but, they're still threatening to write in her name or still saying they're going to vote for Sarah Palin when she's not running? Isn't that just going to help Barack Obama if they don't find a candidate on the Republican side?
Well, we felt like we didn't want to go in that direction because she said no. But when she did say no, she also gave us other orders, which was to thoroughly vet the candidates. That we knew she said to do. So even if, say, later on down the road as we're vetting the candidates, she did decide to jump in the race, well, we could go in that direction. But until then, we're going to do what she said to do, which is vet the candidate. So with that said, that's what we set out to do. And Elizabeth Hawks and I talked it back and forth and decided that we would just take them in alphabetical order and spend 1 week per candidate on each of them. And then we would write a resume and a cover letter at the end of that week, but the only things that they would list would be the things that were posted in the group. So if, you were looking at Bachman, you better get busy and list all the things about Bachman, or if you were Santorum, you better get busy and list all the things about Santorum, so you can make sure and bring out those positives that you really appreciated about your particular candidate. And you get to know them a lot better when you're doing that, and it's a lot of fun. It's fun to get to know the candidates that you never really paid attention to before because we had our eye on one. So, yeah, that's the reason we didn't get involved in that, because she said no, but she did say vet the candidates. So that's where we went with that.
Now, the name of the group is Youth for Palin, and you mentioned in your mission statement about passing some of these values along to the next generation. We look at how important the young voter really is, especially today more than ever. Obviously, Barack Obama had a huge support from young voters in 2008 when he won the presidency. You see some of the young people who are out there for Congressman Paul right now, keeping him always in the top 3 usually in most polls, and a lot of the votes as well. Why is it so important to make sure you get some young people on board, whether it's a Palin candidacy or someone at least that's backed by Palin?
Because your young people are your future, and it's just so important to pass those values on to them because they got that passion. They've just got to share it. And if we can reach them, we can really make a difference.
Now, you're right on Facebook. Can you tell folks if they want to take a look at Youth for Palin, how they can look at your page and maybe join up?
Sure. We've got a Facebook group, like you said, called Youth for Palin. We've also got a fan page, Youth for Palin fan page, and we're on the web. We've got it's called MamaGrizzliesCubs.com. And out there you can find all kinds of neat stuff. That's where we put our blog, and that's also where we put all of the resumes, where we spent the 2 months vetting each of the candidates, and all of their resumes and all of their cover letters are out there on that MamaGrizzlyCubs.com, along with some of the blogs that Elizabeth Hawks and I have posted out there. And you'll also see some docs on there. There's a lot of research docs that's hundreds and hundreds of man-hours that were put out there to defend Sarah Palin and all that she has done in her the whole time she's been in office. You'll just see all kinds of information out there that will support everything that she's done. And it's also on that website as well. And you can follow us on Twitter at Youth for Palin.
And you mentioned Elizabeth Hawks a few times. You guys didn't even know each other before this, right?
No, we didn't. We met in Youth for Palin. I was such a fan of Governor Palin and was looking for people that were of a like mind. So I started looking on Facebook, because I was new to Facebook as well. And I went into some other groups, and they just didn't feel right. You just didn't feel at home. And then I found Youth for Palin, and it felt like home right off the bat. And I loved it. I couldn't wait to get out there and, get involved with it and stuff. And it's just been a good fit. And, we've had our growing pains just like everybody else, but we've worked through them. And with one goal in mind, this group is for Sarah Palin. And everything that we do, we want her to, to be proud of it. I don't know, it's just our gift to her for all that she's done. And it's just grown from there.
And, Nicki, you're in Kentucky, Elizabeth's in Florida. You have members from all over the U.S., and, like you said, building relationships. And it also must be rewarding for you, too, when you have these young kids there. The fact that you have you all in front, setting the example for them, and then seeing these young people get involved in the process, some that can't even vote yet, out there helping in campaigns, that's got to be pretty good for you and pretty cool to see, I would think.
Oh, it feels so good, Kevin. I am so proud of this group. I tell Liz all the time, I just can't believe how blessed we are. It's like the Lord just brought the perfect people in there. I don't know, but the group that we have, the youth, some of them may not be old enough to vote yet, but let me tell you, they've got it going on. They're just on top of things. They follow it. They know exactly what's going on, and they are able to debate with a much older person and know exactly what they're talking about. I mean, we've got some sharp people in this group, and they're not just the United States. There's people from other countries that look at us too.
And, Nicki, the most important thing of all here, got to get this out. So do you like Governor Palin because you look like her? Do you look like her because you like her? Or is it all just coincidental?
It's all just coincidental. But I do enjoy it when people say, "Oh my gosh, has anybody told you you look like Sarah Palin?"
Well, you know what's funny? What I've noticed on the youth page and on other pages that you're on and that I jump on too, a lot of people in this whole Palin movement have Sarah Palin pictures up for their picture. Yeah. So a lot of times you see all these Palin pictures, and then there'll be a Nicki Scroggin picture in the middle here, and you'll just be like, oh, another Palin picture. Oh, what's that one? I'm not familiar with that one, and it's you, out on vacation or something. So you got a built-in Halloween costume every year. You're set.
Isn't that something?
That's great. Well, Nicki, listen, I really appreciate it, and I wish you all the best of luck with this, and it's great that you're keeping things going and understanding that whether Governor Palin runs this time, next time, or never, it's still important to make sure that we keep things rolling here for the Barracuda, Sarah Barracuda, as you like to say, right?
Exactly.
All right, Nicki. Well, thanks so much, and we will talk soon, and we really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you, Kevin. You have a great day.
Learn more about Nicki's group by searching on Facebook for Youth for Palin and by going to mamagrizzliescubs.com. Palin supporters have been waiting with eager anticipation for a presidential endorsement out of Alaska, and they finally got one this past week, though it wasn't from Sarah. Rather, Todd Palin, in a surprise, made his choice public, backing former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich for the top job. Governor Palin addressed her husband's choice by saying Todd went rogue on this one, and still no official endorsement from the Mama Grizzly. Governor Palin also weighed in on GOP frontrunner Mitt Romney, saying criticism of his record with Bain Capital is fair. Palin says Romney should provide proof to his claims that his tenure with Bain helped create 100,000 jobs. She addressed the issue during an interview with Sean Hannity on Fox News Channel. And we all know Sarah Palin as someone to get her done. And now the man who coined that phrase paid a visit to the Palins. Larry the Cable Guy made an unannounced stop at the Palin's home in Alaska for a segment of his History Channel show, Only in America, with Larry the Cable Guy. He says Palin was a good sport, and quoting Larry here, "She didn't shoot me or anything." Funny guy. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. Be sure to visit saranetradio.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, follow us on Twitter at SaraNet Radio, and we are now on Facebook, so make sure you like SaraNet Radio on Facebook. I want to thank everyone here at SaraNet Radio. Thanks to Nicki Scroggin of Youth for Palin. And thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.